Hey Rhett and Link, it's Grotz. This is actually my first video response ever, but I saw this topic and I really felt like I had to give my 2 cents on this. So the question was the best action hero, but when you asked the question, or when you said to give us our vote, it wasn't based on the character, it was based on the actor themselves. And I started thinking, how many of these actors have actually done what they portray in these movies? Well, my vote was actually the inspiration for Captain America, and his name is Audie Leon Murphy. He was actually like 5'5", 110 pounds. He first enlisted after Pearl Harbor, after the attack on Pearl Harbor, for the Marines, and they laughed at him. Then he applied, I think, for the Army twice, and they finally took him. And I'm pretty sure they took him as cannon fodder, not to be taken. I mean, the guy, I mean, he's so little, he twice during boot camp, and they were seriously thinking about discharging him and sending him home. Well, he wasn't from a rich family or anything like that. He was actually really, really poor. He hunted for most of the food that his family ate. So he's definitely, the rags to glory kind of stories. But so they didn't take him seriously, and his first act of valor that got him kind of recognized was him and his best friend in the army were actually going, and they were trying to clear out these German turrets, and they came up on one, and they had them, and they were faking being surrendered, actually turned and shot Audie Murphy's best friend. Probably best way to put it was Audie hulked out, and he killed all the guys in the turret, took the MG42, which is like half his size, walked all the way across all these turrets and took every one of them out. They didn't even recognize, they didn't see him. He's this itty bitty guy just running around with a huge gun, and they're just taking him out one by one by one. Well, he took out all these German turrets in this radius and came back to his dead friend's body and just cried. That's all they could really do. Well, that got him got him distinguished medal awards and stuff like that. But what got him the Medal of Honor was it was his he went up through rank after that, and he had like a group of 129 people. Only 19 of them were left. It's about 14 degrees, 24 inches of snow, which most people wouldn't even make it through, let alone this guy. And all their job was to hold one point and make sure that the German infantry did not get across that point, and make sure that they could give coordinates for the artillery. Well, what happened was they only had 19 guys left, and they're getting just pushed back. And Audie turns and he grabs his M1 carbine, unloads it, that completely depletes the entire thing. So then, after there's nothing left out of that, he jumps on to an M10 tank destroyer with a 50 cal in the back. They've already put out of commission. The thing's on fire, and there's really nothing they can do about it. So he gets on top of it and just demolishes all of the German infantry that were coming at him. Takes out that entire group, then takes out over half of the next group that comes up. And he does this for over an hour. That's over an hour worth of fighting, while he's also wounded. He's been shot in the leg, bleeding out, and an hour in 14-degree weather on a burning tank. So finally, after he stops the first infantry and starts taking out the second one, he calls his men back in to start a counterattack. So once they hold him off, he hops off of this M10 tank destroyer, starts walking away. The thing blows up behind him. Now, so many of the people that you guys put on the list, Sylvester, Arnold, had walked away from stuff that were on fire and blew up, but none of them actually did it in real life. After he left, he was really distinguished, but he had really bad speaking skills because he was super shy. So, they taught him his communication skills, and then they decided they were going to make a movie about it, but they didn't know who was going to play him. Well, someone had the idea, why don't we let Audie play Audie? And he did, and he did a really good job of it. And that actually, the name of the movie is To Hell and Back Again. But everything I just said is not what you'll see in the movie, because Hollywood didn't believe that anyone would believe what he did. So they dumbed it down. That's the first time I've ever heard of Hollywood dumbing down something because they didn't think someone was going to believe it. Usually Hollywood's over the top. Well, that is probably the second thing that gives him the right to be the winner of this, even though I know a lot of people don't know him, a lot of people won't vote for him just because they don't know him, and they're thinking strictly on these actor levels. Well, Audie, after he was the war hero, after he did everything he portrayed in the movie, he then became a Western movie star. He also he also composed a couple songs for country music, but tragically he died before his time. Now he wanted to go back to Korea and Vietnam, but they wouldn't let him. You know, they thought he was more valuable here than overseas fighting again, even though that's where he wanted to be. He died from a plane crash. And I'm not sure. I'm not even sure if he ever reached 50, but he died. So he went from just an enlisted to a major, and all like this 5'5", 110 guy did all of this by himself. Um, but like when they asked him, you know, why he jumped on the back of that M10 tank destroyer, they said, "Why did you do it?" And he said, "They were shooting my friends." And like honestly, that is like the coolest concept that anyone that could win the Hero Award. It was he didn't do it to kill. He didn't do it for himself. He didn't do it for honor. He did it to protect his friends. You know. But like I said, I wish more people knew about this guy and the fact that he's the inspiration for Captain America. This guy is he's the real deal. So, but anyways, that's my vote. Even if he doesn't win by the amount of votes, I hope you get the passion that he heard. But it's I guess kind of fun doing a video response. Anyways, go Pack.